Hi, everyone. I'm Alethea Girding. I am the ISMTE treasurer and was the board liaison to the awards committee this year. And I'm really happy to introduce Kaveh Bazargan, who of River Valley Technologies, who is the winner of the ISMTE Award for Achievement or Innovation. So welcome, Kaveh, and big congratulations on receiving the award this year.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Great. And I just have a few questions for you that I think that our members might be interested in to hear a little bit more about you and to sort of share about this award. So I guess I'll start by asking you, I know so many of us come into scholarly publishing through different routes, and it's always interesting to find out how we find ourselves working in the field. So I'd like to start by asking you how you came to be working in scholarly publishing.
Well, you're right. Everyone comes through different routes, and that's what's interesting about the field. At the risk of showing my age, I was a physicist many years ago doing research in optics and holography, which was very exciting, three-dimensional images. And I ended up writing one or two papers. And I thought that this could be that the whole process was a little bit difficult, if you like. We had to learn how to write, how to get the figures in the right place, how to make my research paper shaped, as I say. And it occurred to me that we could do things better. As it happened, it was the beginning of, it's when the Apple Macintosh had come out, and I was one of the first people who ordered Adobe Illustrator because I thought this was great. There was no interactive graphics at that time. And really the way I started was I thought, well, I can draw line art or mostly technical illustrations for books and journals using this thing, Adobe Illustrator. So I ended up doing that, and it became a very good business because I was the only person using a computer and everyone else was using these, what we call rotring pens. So that's how I started. And it happened that I was also one of the very first scientists to use tech. This is just before LaTeX came out, LaTeX. And there was then a demand for people who could take these files. Publishers didn't know what to do with files, but I would take them, copy edit them, and typeset them and give back the pages. So with those two combinations, that's how I came into scholarly publishing.
Well, that's really interesting because I think, so many people come to it from the sort of English and communication side, and it's so good that we also have members who are coming into it from the science and tech side, and I think that makes a very very diversified group of people with various skill sets to bring, and that's always so good to hear. So this award, the ISMTE Award for Achievement or Innovation, recognizes individuals who have, among other things, implemented innovative solutions to common problems. And you've mentioned a little bit about that as to how you got started in the industry. And I know one thing that stood out for the awards committee is your development of the review. And is it review or review?
Yeah, I think system. Whatever we call it, review. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what can you share with us about that system and your role in its development?
I think we were hearing that generally there are several systems available for submission and peer review, and the authors were having problems with them. They had to learn how to use it. It wasn't as smooth as say what everyone is used to, the new generation. Or whatever generation. We're always using our iPhones and iPads, and we expect a single click to do the job. We didn't really do a very detailed analysis of systems that were available, but we simply looked at what the requirements were of the different stakeholders, the authors, peer reviewers, the editors, etc. And we used the very latest, if you like, frameworks in browsers to create, if you like, a modern system. And the way we've written it, we can update, we can even rewrite the code without breaking any legacy content in there. So I guess it's using a very modern, web-based, responsive approach to allow people to use things really without having to read manuals. That was the approach. So, for example, if you're at the bus stop and you really want to know how many reviews are pending, it's actually trivial. You can go on your iPhone and it'll show you. Clearly, you don't want to do a full peer review on that for obvious reasons. You don't want to write a book on an iPhone, but you can certainly use it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
that's really interesting. And I actually would love to see more of that. And hopefully, if you haven't already, I would love to see more about that and maybe an Eon article or screenshots. That sounds it sounded very interesting to me when we read the nominees for the awards committee. And as you talk about it, it's even more interesting. So I think that leads to our next question very well, because I think you may have identified it in working on this project and really in what has brought you here throughout your whole career. But I would be interested to know what you see as the biggest challenge facing our industry.
Every industry has challenges. I would say the biggest challenge right now is if you like, the requirements of the industry to keep going and doing what we've been doing, the editors, reviewers, the publishing papers online, etc., and the requirements of the community of researchers, scientists, or actually any researcher in general, to publish very quickly and not have to wait to publish a paper. That's the way I see it. Going back to when I was again, I keep going back to when I was writing a paper. I discovered something just to be honest, by chance. And I remember I really wanted to go and shout about this. Apparently, I ran up and down the corridor saying I invented something because I was so excited. But they said, no, don't tell anyone. Careful, you can get a paper out of this. So the thing was to get a paper out of this. That's what we are still doing. And to really, the nub of it is this: that I spent weeks, or maybe for some researchers, it might take months, until I could tell people what I was doing. And of course, then it goes to peer review, publication, etc. So I think the challenge is to do what the wonderful work the industry is doing and all the new things that are coming out, but keep the researchers happy, especially things that really need, for example, medical things, say COVID, where you need immediate publication. That's the challenge, to get the research out, but ensure that it's correct as well.
Yeah, that was definitely during especially in the spring of 2020, just over and over again, we saw this sort of competing balance of getting things out quickly but getting it right. And of course, then people who are outside of the industry not quite understanding what things it meant that things had been peer reviewed or not peer reviewed. And you've identified something that I think we all sort of struggle with. Mm. So if that's what we're all struggling with, what do you see? What is your favorite thing about working in this industry?
I think just meeting people. I love going to conferences and meeting. And the question you started asking me, how did you get into this business? For me, it was wonderful. When I started, I didn't know there was a thing called copy editing, for example. So for my clients said, this hasn't been copy edited. I said, what do you mean? It's beautifully typeset. So learning these things. Even copy editing marks, how the skill of people, indexing, for example, what an underrated skill that is. For someone, I work with indexers. We have an indexing program too, where I say, how could you just take a topic that you don't know anything about and make a usable index? So these are people I love working with and learning from. And for me, I'm still quite technical. So my interest is to technically make things faster, more reliable, and more fun to use. That's what I love sort of talking to people about. Yeah, it's a great industry. And of course, people who come to publishing are people who like reading and writing, who like books. Generally, they're nice people, I find. It's not a cutthroat industry where make my money and run. And of course, that's why we have people who've been decades in the industry and they're happy. They don't want to go into another one. Yeah, that's what I like about it.
Great. That's great to hear. Then, I mean, I feel the same way, or I wouldn't be here now interviewing you. It really is a wonderful community to be a part of. Is there any final thoughts or anything that you would like to share with our membership that I haven't asked today?
I can't, well, there are so many things, but I can't put my finger on one thing. I would like to, if anyone wants to work with us to square the circle that we talked about of getting beautiful publications out, and incidentally, typography, PDF, I love those. I've been to typography conferences. So having a beautiful typography with all the nuances of correct hyphenation, etc., but having the signs also correct and machine readable, for example, that's a challenge. And we love to work with other people. We love to collaborate. We haven't got the answer to everything, but we try. So it is an industry I'm not going to leave, and I'm very happy here.
All right. Well, thank you. And congratulations again, Kaveh, on winning the 2022 ISMTE Award for Achievement or Innovation. We really are pleased to be able to give this award to you for all the work that you're doing in our industry and all the problems you're looking to solve for all of us who work in it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And finally, I should say I'm taking this award, which I'm humbled by. It's on behalf of our wonderful team who have been with us, some of them for 20 years or more. So it's not me doing all this work. It's the people who are not as visible as I am, but my friends and colleagues. And thank you very much. And I'm grateful.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kim, you can